Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're diving into a powerful moment where Alex is faced with an impossible choice between the growing demands of his factory and the family he loves. Will he choose success, or will he risk it all to protect his home? If you enjoy this story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss the next episode. Alex watched as Henry ran across the playground, his laughter floating through the air like a song. It was a simple joy, the kind he had always imagined but never quite believed would come to be. Every afternoon, Alex and Tu Na took turns at the school, not to supervise but to be present, to help Henry get used to the new environment. He pushed the swing gently, watching as Henry grinned, his small hands gripping the chains tightly. Tu Na stood nearby, her eyes soft but observant as Henry moved from the swing to the wooden horse. Her heart swelled with a quiet pride as Henry's laughter echoed in her ears. She could see him growing, becoming more independent each day. When Henry was waiting for his turn on the seesaw, he turned to Tu Na, his small face full of questions. "Mom, Tu Na, when will you come?" he asked, his voice tinged with uncertainty. Tu Na's heart skipped a beat. She smiled at him from her seat, but there was an ache in her chest that she couldn't shake. Watching Henry grow up, taking those small steps away from her, felt both like a blessing and a quiet sorrow. Alex arrived just as the school bell rang, his coat still hanging on his arm. He rushed to join Henry, scooping him up with ease, and together they played in the corner of the yard. The sight of them, so natural, so simple, made Alex's heart swell with love and protectiveness. He stood back for a moment, watching them, his family. From across the playground, Alex's mother stood watching. Her throat tightened as she observed the family she had worked so hard to protect. In the past, she had thought that protection meant control. Now she was learning. Sometimes protection meant letting go, letting them live their lives with peace. She had always thought protecting meant control. Now she understood that protecting meant letting them grow. Tu Na sat on a bench by the playground, watching as Henry continued to play. She could see the small strides he was making, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. Her role as a mother was evolving, and it was both empowering and lonely. In the distance, Alex's mother watched them, the weight of her thoughts visible in the way her eyes lingered on them. She had been through so much, fought so hard to create a safe life for them. Yet now she saw that the real challenge was not in protecting them from harm, but in giving them space to live, to flourish, and to find their own path. Henry, oblivious to the tension between the generations, ran back to Tu Na. "Me Tu Na, look," he exclaimed, showing her his painted hands. The small victories of childhood, the joy of learning, filled her with warmth and pride. But there was a heaviness beneath it, a question that she couldn't ask aloud. Alex arrived late in the afternoon, his steps hurried as he walked toward Tu Na. He took off his jacket and sat down beside her. "Henry's doing well," he said, his voice calm but carrying the weight of the day. "It's all going as planned." Tu Na nodded, her gaze fixed on the schoolyard. "I know, he's growing so quickly." She turned to him, her voice barely above a whisper. "But what about us? Are we growing too?" The question hung in the air between them, unanswered. "But what about us? Are we growing too?" The following days blended together in a haze of routine. Alex continued to manage the factory while Tu Na focused on Henry and their home. They had found a rhythm, but it wasn't enough. Tu Na could sense the distance between them growing, even as they continued to act like everything was fine. One afternoon, after picking up Henry from school, Tu Na sat with him in the garden, her hands gently pulling weeds from the soil. Henry ran around, chasing butterflies, his laughter a bright spot in the quiet afternoon. But even as Henry's joy filled the air, Tu Na couldn't ignore the weight in her chest. She wasn't sure what had changed, but she knew something was wrong. The balance between her and Alex, between family and responsibility, was beginning to shift. Later that evening, as they sat down to dinner, Alex's mother sat quietly at the table, her eyes flicking between her son and Tu Na. She had always been a woman of few words, but now her silence spoke volumes. The family had come a long way, but the road ahead was uncertain. "Alex," Tu Na finally said, breaking the silence, "we need to talk." Her voice was steady, but her heart was racing. This was the moment she had been avoiding, the moment where they would have to confront what was really happening between them. Alex looked up, meeting her eyes. "I know," he said softly. "We will." The tension between them was palpable, a weight neither of them could escape. And as the evening wore on, they both knew that the next step would be the hardest yet. A choice had to be made. "We will." Days passed and the pressure began to mount. Alex's work at the factory was intensifying. Tu Na's fears, her doubts, were growing harder to ignore. She had tried to push them aside, but now they seemed unavoidable. It was late one night when Alex came home, his face drawn with exhaustion. Tu Na was already sitting at the table, a cup of tea in front of her. "Alex, we need to talk," she said again, this time her voice firmer. "I can't keep pretending everything is fine." Alex's heart sank as he sat down across from her. He knew this conversation was coming. They couldn't keep going like this, living in two separate worlds. His world of work, her world of home. "I know," he said, his voice low, "but we've been through so much. I thought we could handle this." Tu Na shook her head. "It's not about handling it, it's about choosing. We both need to choose what we're willing to lose." The words hit Alex harder than he expected. He had been so focused on what he was building, what he was trying to provide, that he had forgotten what mattered most: his family. He stood up, pacing the room. "I don't know what to do anymore, Tu Na. I thought I was doing what was best for us." "For you?" Tu Na's eyes softened, but there was still a fire in them. "I know you thought that. But what about me? What about us? You're not the only one making sacrifices here." Alex stopped in his tracks, the weight of her words settling in. "I don't want to lose you," he said quietly. Tu Na looked at him, her face serious. "Then choose, Alex. Choose what really matters." The next morning, Alex walked into the office, his mind a storm of conflicting thoughts. The factory was demanding more production, more workers, more pressure. But what about his family? What about Tu Na? His mother had been silent about it all, watching from the sidelines, but now she spoke. "You need to decide, Alex. You can't keep running from the truth." Alex looked at her, his frustration bubbling up. "I'm not running, I'm just trying to figure this out." She shook her head. "You can't do everything alone, and you can't ignore your family." By the end of the week, nothing had been decided. The pressure had only grown. The deadline for the factory's order loomed large, and Alex felt the weight of it pressing down on him. But even as the world around him continued to spin, one thing was clear: he had to choose. Tu Na was waiting for him at home, her eyes searching his face for answers. And in that moment, Alex knew he was standing at a crossroads. One road would take him to success, to stability, to a future built on work and ambition. But the other road, well, that was the road that led home. He took a deep breath and stepped forward, knowing that whatever choice he made, it would change everything. But the question remained: which road would he choose?